Good morning Year 4, this is my hints and tips video for our maths lesson today, equivalent fractions 2. So I'm just going to whiz through a little starter with you. Okay, so here we've got the fraction 2/3 and I'm going to write some equivalent fractions to 2/3. So I'm going to do that by using my multiples of 3. Okay, so my multiples of 3 go 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Okay, so here this is 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 3 is 12, and 5 times 3 is 15. So I'm now going to do whatever I've done to the bottom, I now need to do to the top. So 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3, because we did 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, 2 times 3 is 6. Here we did 4 times 3 is 12, so here we're going to do 4 times 2 is 8, and here we're doing 3 times 5 is 15, so here we're going to do 2 times 5 is 10. So all of those fractions are equivalent to 2/3. So if we look at the worksheet today, I don't think you have any problem sorting out the diagrams for number 1 and 2. So let's have a look at number 3. It says match the equivalent fractions. Alright, so what you need to do is come down, have a look. I've got 1/4, 4/10, 10/15 and 1/7. Okay, so I'm looking for patterns in my denominators to see. Okay, so I'm actually going to start with this one, which is my 7th. So I'm looking for 7 is 12 is not a multiple of 7, 5 is not, 3 is not, but 21 is. Okay, and 7 times 3 is 21, and 1 times 3 is 3. So I can see that my fractions are equivalent here. With my denominator it's 15. My next multiple of 15 would be 30, but there isn't, so I must be looking for something that will divide in to 15. Okay, so that's my clue for that one. Same here, something, there's not a multiple of 10 in these denominators, so I'm looking for something that will divide in. Okay, so once you start to eliminate them, you will just be able to see the patterns. Okay, so for 4, complete the equivalent fractions. Okay, so we know that we need to see the relationship between 5 and 10, which is to multiply by 2, and whatever we've done to the bottom we're going to do to the top. Okay, here we've got the numerator, and we can see the equivalent numerator of that fraction is 3, and here we know we do 3 multiplied by 3 is 9, so whatever I've done to the bottom, the top I need to do to the bottom. Here my numerator has changed from 8 to 2. Okay, so this is going to be a division, and 8 divided by something has given us an answer of 2. Okay, so that one, 8 divided by 4 is 2. So then we'll do 12 divided by 4 to find our denominator. Okay, so draw on your sheet, help you, or draw in your book if you're copying them down, and work your way through. If you do it systematically like this, then you won't make any errors. Okay, number 5. Write the fractions in the correct place on the sorting diagram. Okay, so it's quite a big job. Right, let's have a look at the sorting diagram. This one says, in this column going down, all these fractions must be equivalent to a third. And in this column going down, all these fractions must be equivalent to a quarter. Okay, here, in this row going across, they must all have an odd denominator. And here, in this row going across, they must all have an even denominator. So my advice to you is to work out whether each fraction is equivalent to a third or a quarter. And I'm going to pick at random this one, 9/36. So I need to think, when I'm looking at my fraction, I can work systematically and find what I can divide both 9 and 36 by, but if they appear in the same times table, then that's going to get me there much more quickly. So these numbers are both multiples of 9. This one can be divided by 9 once. And how many 9s are there in 36? There are 4. So look for patterns in the times tables. I'm not going to do that one because it's an easier one to do. Okay, so I'm going to look and see with 6/24. Now I know that there are other factors of this, but are these digits in the same times table? Well, 6 will obviously divide by 6, and 24 is in the 6 times table as well. Okay, so we have 6 divided by 6 is 1, and 24 divided by 6. So we're going 6, 12, 18, 24 is 4. So you can see that I'm starting to find my fractions, and I'm going to go through, right, and sort them so that I find whether they're equivalent to a third or equivalent to a quarter. And then I'm going to look to see whether they've got the odd denominator or the even denominator. Let's do one more. Let's do 5/15. Well, 5 and 15 are both in the 5 times table. So 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 15 divided. Okay, so now when you've done that, then you can go through and sort them all out into the table. So I'm looking here, it's got to have an odd denominator and equivalent to a third. So 5/15 would go in here. Okay. Have I got an odd denominator that is equivalent to a quarter? Well, I've just done these two at the moment. Okay, and now it's got to be an even denominator. Okay, 24 and 36, but it's also got to be equivalent to a quarter. So these two are not, these are equivalent to my quarter, so then, and they have an even denominator, so they would go in this box. Okay, so there are some other smaller questions for you to complete. Are any of the boxes empty? Why do you think this is? Okay, I like to see your thinking for those type of. And number 6, it says find 3 ways to make the fractions equivalent. Okay, and I had to look this up and check because I don't think the question is well written. But in the example and the answers, it showed you that here they're giving you 2 halves, which is the same, would be the same as 4 quarters. That's your whole, isn't it? Okay. And here they've done 2/5 as the same as 4/10, and off they've gone. Yours won't necessarily be the same as the ones on the answer sheet, but as long as each fraction is in its equivalent pair, that will be fine. Okay. Okay, and lastly, number 7, which is a horrible question. Okay, Eva and Ron have a baguette each. The baguettes are the same size. Eva cuts her baguette into 8 equal pieces. Ron says, 3 of my equal pieces are equal to 6 of Eva's. Okay, how many equal pieces has Ron cut his baguette into? Right, so first thing we're going to do is draw a bar model to show Eva and Ron's baguette, and we're going to cut Eva's baguette into 8 equal pieces. So I'm doing my bar model by eye, so I know I've got to divide it into 8 equal pieces, so I'm doing it in half and then dividing in each half again, so that would be quarters, and then I'm dividing each of those quarters in half again, so I get 8ths. Okay, so if we count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I put the 8s in because I think it will help us, and it says 3 of my equal pieces are equal to 6 of Eva's. So we know we need 6 8ths. Okay, because that's what Ron tells us. And for those 6 8ths, that would be 3 equal pieces. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 8ths. Okay, and I've got to divide that into 3 equal pieces. Alright, so I can see that through my bar model. I would get here 2 8ths, the equivalent of 2 8ths here. If it helps, I'll put 6 8ths there. Okay, and here, and I can now see that Ron must have divided his baguette into 4 equal pieces. Okay, I didn't actually mean to go all the way through and finally give you the solution, but work through it, draw it, think about what's happened. It is a very wordy, tricky question. Okay, all right, work hard, have fun, and I look forward to seeing some of your work later.